The heart of the quote. Bukowski is describing a situation where a person has complete personal independence. No one tells you when to wake up. No one is waiting for you at home. No one controls what you do, how you spend your time, or where you go. On the surface, this looks like pure freedom, total control over your life, your schedule, and your choices. But Bukowski asks a deeper question. Is that actually freedom? Or is it loneliness disguised as independence? Why the quote is powerful? Because it acknowledges a truth many people experience but rarely admit. Freedom and loneliness can look almost the same. When you're completely alone, you do have a lot of freedom, no obligations, no responsibilities toward a partner or family. But at the same time, you may feel the emptiness of not having someone who cares where you are, how you're doing, or when you come home. What feels like freedom one day can feel like loneliness the next. For example, a young person may love the idea of nobody telling them what to do. But an older person may long for a voice saying, "Good morning," or "Come home safely." The same situation can bring joy or sadness depending on the stage of life and your emotional needs. Humans want both independence and connection. People naturally desire autonomy, the ability to make their own choices. Belonging, the feeling of being loved, needed, and understood. This quote highlights the tension between these two desires. What Bukowski is really asking. Bukowski isn't giving the answer, he's asking you to reflect. If having total freedom makes you feel alive, you might call it freedom. If having no one in your life makes you feel empty, you might call it loneliness. If you feel both at the same time, then you understand the complexity of the human heart. It's a reminder that freedom without connection can feel hollow. Connection without freedom can feel suffocating. The challenge is finding a balance. The hidden insight. Bukowski is suggesting that the line between freedom and loneliness is not defined by circumstances, it's defined by how you feel inside. Two people can live the same life. One feels liberated. One feels abandoned. The difference is emotional, not situational. A deeper emotional interpretation. Bukowski's quote touches the most fragile part of the human experience, the longing for independence and the longing for connection. Freedom feels beautiful when your heart is full. When you are emotionally stable, confident, and comfortable being alone. Waking up with no obligations feels peaceful. Sitting alone at night feels calming. Doing anything you want feels empowering. You call it freedom because your solitude is a choice, not a punishment. Loneliness appears when your heart feels empty. When you crave companionship or emotional support. Waking up alone feels heavy. No one waiting for you feels like no one cares. Having too much free time feels meaningless. You call it loneliness because the silence starts to feel like a reminder that you're on your own. The quote highlights a powerful truth. Your external situation doesn't change. Only your feelings do. You can live the same lifestyle, but with love it feels like independence. Without love it feels like emptiness. Bukowski is asking, do you want freedom or do you want connection? And can you find a life where you have both? The story of Haruki Murakami before fame. Before becoming one of the world's most famous novelists, Haruki Murakami lived a life that perfectly reflected Bukowski's dilemma. In his early 20s, he moved to Tokyo, where he owned a small jazz bar. He worked long nights, came home at odd hours, and had no boss, no children, and very few obligations. He controlled everything in his life, his schedule, his business, his time. From the outside, he looked like a young man living the definition of freedom. But here's the truth he once shared. He said that after the bar closed, he would walk home alone at 3 a.m. Tokyo streets were quiet. His apartment was dark. No one was awake. No one was waiting. He could eat at any hour, sleep whenever he wanted, read whatever he liked, start writing whenever he felt inspired. He had total independence. But Murakami later admitted that some nights, he asked himself a question similar to Bukowski's. Is this freedom? Or is it loneliness I'm feeling? The silence started to feel heavy. The empty apartment reminded him that he had created a life with no restrictions, but also very few emotional connections. Everything changed when he started writing novels. He discovered that while solitude is painful, solitude with purpose becomes powerful. Writing turned his loneliness into creativity. He still woke up alone. He still worked alone. But now the silence helped him grow, instead of hurting him. Years later, when he married and became a full-time writer, he said, "Freedom is important, but life becomes richer when someone waits for you at the end of the day." The message from both parts. Bukowski's quote isn't choosing between freedom or loneliness, it's showing how closely the two are connected. Alone with purpose feels like freedom. Alone without meaning feels like loneliness. Alone but loved by someone feels like balance. The quote invites you to look inside yourself and ask, do I feel free because I'm alone? Or lonely because I'm free? And what can I change to make my life feel full?